Hey everybody, welcome back to the MonicaVerse. I am Monica and this is a MonicaVerse What If story, another Star Wars story, but I did Mace Windu became Darth Vader story. So I decided why not have a little bit of fun? Why not do something that no one's ever done before? And we all talk about the fall of Darth Sidious. We all talk about the rise of Darth Vader and everything. What if Palpatine died by a bar of soap? So once again, folks, we are going to delve into this. And the comic book cover I created, and I thought it would be hilarious that in a galaxy ruled by a powerful Sith Lord, the Jedi, the Clone Wars, the Separatists, what if Palpatine died by a bar of soap? So, can you imagine the things with that? But we'll go into that after the story. Let us go now into the story itself. Star Wars. What if the galaxy was saved by a bar of soap? A long time ago in a galaxy far away. Chapter 1. The Shadow War. The Clone Wars had consumed the galaxy. World after world burned beneath the endless conflict between the Galactic Republic and the Confederacy of Independent Systems. The massive fleets exchanged fire in deep space while clone troopers and battle droids slaughtered one another across countless planets. The Jedi Order was stretched thin. Once peacekeepers and guardians of harmony, the Jedi had become generals, leading armies into battle after battle. Their connection to the Force had grown clouded, weakened by years of fear, anger, and death. Deep within the towering skyline of Coruscant, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine stood before a massive window of his private residence overlooking the city planet. Lightning flashed outside as rain struck the tower spire. Palpatine smiled. Everything was proceeding exactly as he planned. The Republic grew more dependent on him every day. The Senate willingly handed him more power. The Jedi exhausted themselves across the galaxy while distrust slowly poisoned their order from within. And Anakin Skywalker. Palpatine's yellow Sith eyes narrowed. The boy was almost ready. Soon Darth Vader would rise. Soon the Jedi will fall. Soon the galaxy will kneel before the Sith. Palpatine chuckled quietly to himself. The dark side had already won. He turned and walked deeper into his luxurious private chamber. The fall of Darth Sidious. Steam filled the Chancellor's massive marble bathrooms. Palpatine hummed slowly to himself as he stepped into the shower, allowing the warm water to run over him. Even Sith Lords enjoy comfort. Outside, thunder rumbled across the Coruscant skyline. Palpatine's eyes closed in satisfaction. Everything had gone perfectly. Dooku controlled the Separatists. Grievous terrorized the Outer Rim. The Jedi were blind, and Anakin trusted him completely. The Chosen One himself would soon belong to the Sith. Palpatine smiled proudly. Then his foot landed on something slippery. a bar of soap. And for that brief instant, the Dark Lord of the Sith lost balance. His eyes widened. What? His feet shot forward violently. Palpatine panicked. Instinctively, he unleashed Sith lightning. Ah! Blue energy exploded from his hands directly into the shower walls and water around him. Electricity surged through the entire chamber. Remember, folks, electricity and water do not go well together. Palpatine convulsed violently. The most powerful Sith Lord in generations screamed in agony as his own lightning tore through his body. Then his head slammed against the edge of the shower wall with a sickening crack. His neck twisted sharply. Silence. Water continued pouring over the burnt corpse of Darth Sidious. The bar of soap bounced harmlessly out of the shower and slid behind the toilet. The grand Sith plan ended in complete silence. The disturbance vanishes. Across the galaxy, everyone felt it. Near Elam, Jedi starfighters flew through burning wreckages as Republic cruisers battled Separatist destroyers overhead. Inside, his Jedi interceptor, Anakin Skywalker, suddenly froze. His eyes widened. The darkness. It was gone. Not weakened. Gone. Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice came over the comm. Anakin, do you feel that? Anakin slowly nodded despite Obi-Wan being unable to see it. Yes. Around him, something unbelievable happened. The Separatist fleet suddenly stopped firing. Droid starfighters began retreating. Republic officers stared in confusion. What are they doing? On the bridge of the Separatist command ship, Count Dooku stood motionless. His face had gone pale. Sidious was gone. Impossible. Dooku reached out through the Force. Nothing. No shadow, no cold presence, no master. Fear crept into Dooku's chest for the first time in years. He immediately turned to his tactical droid. Retreat all fleets immediately. But my lord, now! Across the galaxy, Separatist forces began withdrawing from battle after battle. The Clone Wars suddenly stopped. The clearing of the Force. Inside the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, Master Yoda slowly opened his eyes during meditation. For the first time in years, the Force felt clear. The suffocating fog surrounding the Jedi had vanished almost instantly. Mace Windu entered the council chamber. You feel it too? Yoda nodded gravely. Gone, the darkness is. One by one, Jedi Masters arrived. Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shakti. Even they seemed disturbed. Confused, relieved. Mace folded his arms. For years, we sensed something hidden. And now, Obi-Wan asked after arriving before Anakin. Yoda's ears lowered. Destroyed, perhaps. Anakin frowned. But what would have caused something like this? No one had an answer. The discovery. Meanwhile, panic spread through the Senate district. Maz Amida stood outside the Chancellor Palpatine's residence alongside two robed royal guards. There's still no response, he asked nervously. One guard shook his head. No communications from the Chancellor in over 7 hours. Maz Amida swallowed hard. Palpatine never ignored calls. The group entered the residence cautiously. Everything appeared normal. No sign of attack, no intruders, no damage, until they reached the bathroom. Maz Amida froze in horror. Palpatine's body lay motionless in the shower, badly burned and twisted unnaturally. The guards rushed forward. "Medical team!" One of the investigators knelt beside the corpse. "He's dead." Masamita trembled. "How?" The investigators stared in confusion. "Severe electrical burns, and it appears his neck was broken." "But by whom?" No answer came. No assassin, no poison, no blade, no evidence. Only a dead chancellor and a mystery no one could explain. Behind the toilet, the forgotten bar of soap rested silently. The end of the war. The Republic entered chaos. The Senate mourned Chancellor Palpatine publicly while secretly struggling to maintain control. But something had changed. Without Sidious manipulating events from the shadows, the Separatists became disorganized. The Republic intelligence improved rapidly, and the Jedi finally saw the war clearly. Count Dooku attempted to regroup on Sereno, but he understood how quickly the Republic would strike. Or should I say he underestimated how quickly the Republic would strike. Under temporary leadership of Bail Organa, the Senate authorized a massive offensive. Every available fleet mobilized. Clone armies descended upon Sereno in overwhelming force. Jedi generals led the assault personally. The battle was devastating. Separatist defenses collapsed within hours. General Grievous attempted to escape aboard the Invisible Hand, only to be intercepted by Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The duel was fierce. Grievous spun his lightsabers wildly as blasts of fire erupted around the bridge. But this time, there was no Palpatine orchestrating events, no rescue mission, no distractions. Obi-Wan drove his blade through two of Grievous's arms while Anakin severed his cyborg legs. Grievous screamed in rage before Obi-Wan fired directly into his exposed organs. The Separatist warlord collapsed in flames. On Sereno itself, Mace Windu, Yoda, Plo Koon, and several Jedi Masters confronted Count Dooku. The Sith Lord fought fearlessly, but alone he could not stand against them all. As Windu's purple blade hovered near his throat, Dooku finally shouted, "You fools! You have no idea what was truly happening." Yoda narrowed his eyes. "Explain, you will." But before Dooku could continue, the clone troopers moved forward and sealed him inside carbonite for transport. The truth got sealed away with him. Hours later, Republic slicers transmitted the universal shutdown code. Across the galaxy, battle droids collapsed motionly. The Clone Wars were over. Peace returns. 6 months later, the Republic slowly healed. Bail Organa was officially elected Supreme Chancellor. Bail worked tirelessly to reunify the galaxy peacefully rather than through fear, along with Padme Amidala. Separatist worlds were allowed back into the Republic under strict agreements. The clone army was reorganized. Many clones chose retirement. Others remained as peacekeepers. And the Jedi Order finally returned to being guardians rather than soldiers. Anakin Skywalker stood quietly beside Padme Amidala on the balcony overlooking Coruscant. "No more war," Padme whispered softly. Anakin smiled. "For the first time in a long time, I think there's hope." Obi-Wan approached behind them. Try not to ruin it, Anakin. Anakin smirked. No promises. For once, the future seemed bright. The true hero of the galaxy. Deep inside Palpatine's now abandoned residence, a simple cleaning droid quietly worked. The home was being prepared for Chancellor Bail Organa and Queen Brea Organa. The droid moved methodically through the chambers. In hidden compartments, it discovered strange objects. Crimson lightsabers, Sith holocrons, ancient artifacts, holographic journals. The droid tilted its head. Unidentified junk. One by one, the greatest Sith secrets in galactic history were tossed into a disposal bin. The droid continued cleaning. Eventually, it reached the bathroom. Something was lodged behind the toilet. The droid reached down and picked it up. A simple bar of soap. The droid cleaned it carefully and placed it neatly onto the soap dish beside the sink. Then it rolled away, unaware that this humble little object had accomplished what the Jedi, the Senate, the Republic military, and even the Chosen One never could. The destruction of Darth Sidious. The galaxy had been saved by soap. The end. Alright guys, I actually did comic book panels too from this. Trying to write everything down, you know, kind of sad back. But this is where things have been crazy if you look at it. Okay. So if you think about it, this has got to be one of the most funny. I wrote this and it made me laugh so hard because think of this. And it's strangely believable. And if you want to stop and think about it, okay? Star Wars alternative timelines, you know, completely it's just this one thing, okay? The most strangely believable Star Wars alternative timeline because it completely destroys the entire Sith grand plan through cosmic irony. Okay? Palpatine, think about this. Palpatine spent decades manipulating the Republic, the banking clan, the Trade Federation, the Jedi, Anakin, the Senate, and the Clone Wars itself. And then he was defeated by bathroom safety. Isn't that insane? The best part that it actually works in the logic of Star Wars. You know, it doesn't have Force powers. It's not like a droid or anything like that. Why this timeline changes everything? Let's think about that. Palpatine was the glue holding the entire conflict together. Without him, Dooku loses direction. The Separatists lose their centralized command. The Republic suddenly regains clarity, like through intelligence. Now they're not being clouded or anything. You know, the Jedi no longer are blind in the Force or clouded. They're like now they can see clearly. Order 66 is never issued, and Anakin never falls. Right? The galaxy basically experienced a massive Force exhale. The moment where all the battles suddenly stop because both sides feel something vanish, that's very, very Star Wars-like. The Force itself would probably react violently to Sidious's disappearing, just like a wave, like an explosion. Count Dooku's situation is fascinating because think about this. Dooku suddenly becomes leader of a collapsing confederacy. Right? Apprentice without a master, Sith without a plan, a politician without leverage. So all of this, Dooku now has to go on his own. And I think obviously while Dooku wasn't truly evil. He was misguided. He wanted to bring order because he saw what happened with Qui-Gon and with the Jedi and in the Republic. That I think he would, you know, I think he would maybe try to do something different. And unlike Palpatine, Dooku was never truly interested in endless chaos. He believed the Republic was corrupt and like what we just said, and he thought aristocratic control. Once Sidious dies, Dooku probably realizes, oh no, I'm holding a grenade with the pin pulled. Everybody's gonna come after me. The Republic assault on Sereno makes sense because now Dooku had pulled all the droid forces back to Sereno. Okay, he didn't care about the trade federations, the Binky clans, everybody else's homeworld. He was afraid because if somebody can kill Sidious, they're going to come after him. So he wanted to be prepared. So the assault on Sereno, the Jedi is suddenly thinking clearly again. The Senate becomes united, and the War Machine can finally focus on one target. Oh, and now the question, what happens to Anakin? I think in this whole timeline, everything goes completely opposite. Because without Palpatine, Padme never dies. Because there's a rumor or a scenario going around that Palpatine influenced her death, by making her give up her will to live. Anakin never turns into Darth Vader. The Jedi likely begin noticing his emotional instability much earlier and work with him. And Obi-Wan probably helps him mature naturally over time faster. So I think that's it. And Anakin will still struggle with attachments, fear, loss, anger, impatience. But without the Chancellor constantly feeding him those fears, he had a real chance of becoming somebody different. He would become a controversial Jedi Master because he wasn't always by the rules. Maybe he even reforms the Order if he's put on the Council. And eventually, Anakin will train Luke and Leia openly because they will have to, hey, I'm married, I have kids. I think the Jedi Council simply, realizing something has happened, with Yoda feeling it, Mace Windu and the other masters feeling it, and they see that the dark side is gone and all that. I think they would quickly, like now unite to figure out what was going on. They will probably realize that they'll probably think Dooku was really the one in charge. They would not think that he had a master. They'll think that he was the one fully in charge. So, and then think about this. Because Palpatine died accidentally, the truth becomes harder to uncover. There's no dramatic reveal yet, there's no I am the Senate or no final confrontation, just confusion. And I put Bail as Chancellor because it makes sense. Bail was compassionate, diplomatic, anti-authorian. He respected the Jedi and generally wanted peace. So I think under him, the Republic would have been more solidified. I think, in my opinion, the Clone Wars, the clones retiring is good because we've seen years later how they did retire, and some of them, if you've seen some of them, like The Mandalorian and in Star Wars Rebels and the Bad Batch, how a lot of them, just went away and they, like disappeared. So, and the funny thing is the greatest hero in galactic history, the final reveal with the cleaning droid and the soap is perfect comedy, guys, because from their perspective, the Jedi didn't save the Republic. The Chosen Prophecy didn't save the Republic. The Senate didn't save the Republic. Soap did. So that ending feels something out of, I was thinking Robot Chicken, and other spoof videos. So I kind of think, that a droid just cleaning the apartment, like a regular cleaning droid, not knowing what Sith holocrons, lightsabers and scrolls and all that. Him just basically says, oh, this is junk and throwing it away. It's insane. Meanwhile, finding the soap, cleaning it, putting it on a dish, a soap dish, brings such irony. And then think about this too. the future possibilities. Imagine Jedi historians desperately trying to uncover how Darth Sidious died. Okay, there'll be endless theories, secret investigations, classified archives, ancient Sith, you know, stories, conspiracy theories about Plagueis if he was really real. And somewhere in Coruscant, in a supply closet, the bar of soap still exists, untouched, silent, and victorious. So there you go, guys. What if the galaxy was saved by a bar of soap? I hope you guys enjoyed this what if. I'll be doing more of these. So make sure you check me out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Leave a comment below because I love doing these now. I think this is funny. I spent like I've got like so many what ifs that I wrote down. And I think that's gonna be something that we're going to dwell into, plus my reaction video. So with that, guys, I'm gonna say thanks for being part. Thanks for listening in, and let me know what if you would like for me to tackle. Take care.